And we're back, wrapping up our final 2 days on Amigo Brothers. We're going to be analyzing the brutal, gruesome fight scene. We're going to be looking at the author's craft. How did our friend Perry Thomas make this scene so vivid, so epic, and make us feel like we had ringside tickets to the show? Before we get into that high level analysis work, I want you to think about your own book, your chosen book. Today, as you read for 10 minutes, what scene can you really visualize most clearly in your story? What did you really see? All right, enjoy your piece and meet you back in 10. Okay, we've been reading about these two youngsters on the Lower East Side and their dreams to make it to advance to the Golden Gloves tournament, the tournament that's kind of the gateway into the pros in the boxing world. And so I think it's only fair if we show you a little action from an actual Golden Gloves tournament. So let's just enjoy this for a tickle here. And
Chins from Atlas Cops and Kids, the 18-year-old in the gold corner, and Christian Coakley, 17-year-old, product out of Manny's, BC.
Strong, stiff jab here from Richardson.
Yeah, Hitchens is what I like to call a game and gritty fighter, and he's tough for an 18-year-old. He's just solid, all around, just a solid fighter.
Absolutely. I love these combinations by both these guys, especially Hitchens.
We might get a standing 8 in this one early on between Hitchens and Coakley as the crowd's trying to rise to their feet. Early around number 1 at the Barclays Center.
Beautiful right hand by Hitchens here. He's landed that punch about 3 or 4 times. Comes right down the pipe. There it is again.
Body shot by Hitchens. Snaps that left jab. Pushes back Coakley. Straight right again. Downstairs. Body shot again by Hitchens. How do you weather the storm early on if you're Coakley?
I think right now, if you're Coakley, you don't want to trade punches like this. You're losing this battle. I think you step back a little bit, you gather yourself, and you try to find that range that works for you.
Hitchens right now teeing off. A lot of shots up top.
You know, sometimes as a fighter, that adrenaline's running, you get hit. You want to just stay in the pocket and keep firing. But the key to this game is hit and don't be hit.
Coakley momentarily finding a home, fighting in the pocket with some body shots. Straight right again by Hitchens. Countered up top with a left. Body shot again, liver shot with a right.
I love that jab to the body by Hitchens. Sets up everything up top. That strong jab down to the sternum. Beautiful right hand up top there. Knocks Coakley back.
Oh, Coakley got rocked again. That should be a standing 8. Oh, mercy. Richardson, Hitchens.
all right. So, did you pick up some good moves? If somebody comes at you in Wesco parking lot and tries to jump you for your slushy, boom, boom. The liver shot. I like that. It's a nice little phrase, a liver shot. Kind of like a haymaker right off the ghetto streets, to quote our friend Perry Thomas. So today, our work is this. We are going to analyze the fight scene and how did the author manage to hold the reader's attention for all of those pages. So this is what you need to find. Under Google Classroom, you have a document called Amigo Brothers Constructed Response. Once you find that, we put a handy dandy link right here to the story. So find this document and then go ahead and pull up the story, and you're going to be in great shape. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, this constructed response. We're not doing this and having you do this just because we're rotten jerks and we want to, inflict pain and suffering upon you. But this is to prepare you for your future. We're doing this because we love you. The SAT prompt that you'll take the SAT test in high school. Actually, you'll take a practice test perhaps in 8th grade, and then you'll take the SAT multiple times in high school. And that's just one part of your story for a comp into admissions into college. So your scoring there can be pretty important, especially the writing portion. In the writing prompt that they have on the SAT, it calls kids, you get a piece of literature you probably have never seen before, and it gives you a prompt which asks you to analyze the author's style. Like, how did the author use satire or humor in this piece? How did the author use action in this piece, or analyze the author's argument? So we're going to start doing this kind of high-level thinking right now in 7th grade to prepare you so you can do a stellar job on your SAT response. So here it is. In your opinion, what are the 2 strongest techniques that author Perry Thomas used to bring the Amigo Brothers fight scene to life? So just take a think from it. What are the strongest techniques that he used? What did you love about his writing? So I'm going to pause and just have you think on your own, just to yourself, for about 30 seconds. Okay, so maybe you came up with some ideas. Maybe you remember the bung bung bung, and that's onomatopoeia. That's figurative language. That's the author using sound words to bring it to life. It felt like we had ringside seats to the show. He doesn't forget to add detail like beads of sweat exploding from the ends of Antonio's hair. So he zooms in and he has that imagery. And there's a ton of action. So let's just get right into the text here. If you scroll down to page 12, I'll give you a moment to do that. We can start shopping for great lines we love, passages that we think are intensely descriptive and captivating for us as readers, because I'm not bored when I read this, okay? So on page 12, when you get there, bang bang, round one. Maybe you like the onomatopoeia. That's phenomenal. I like all of the figurative language. Antonio's left hand like a piston pumping jab, one right after another with seeming ease. So that those verbs there, pumping jabs, and then Felix bobbing and weaving, he never stops boring in. The way the author writes with action verbs. So action verbs would be an awesome technique. I love how he uses moment by moment action through the piece. It wasn't just like, yeah, the fight was brutal, it was intense, it just raged for about 30 minutes. No, the author does show versus tell. He doesn't just tell us it was brutal and massively gruesome. He shows us. He ducked a short right, missed a left hook. Felix trapped him against the ropes just long enough to pour some punishing rights and lefts in Antonio's hard midsection, right? And then crashing two lefts to his head, like just the powerful verb choice, which is pretty awesome. So you can talk about the action, sure, but he doesn't also forget to just include excellent imagery. How did things look? What do fighters look like? The eyes swelling up. So I liked this part. This is one of my favorites. Antonio gracefully danced his way toward his stool, none the worse, except for glowing glove burns showing angry red against the whiteness of his midribs. I can totally see that, right? The glowing glove burns, and it's hot and the blood's rushing there, right? You can see that he's been pummeled and beaten up. That's good. How about maybe you like the dialogue, the trainer saying, watch that right, Tony. Remember, Felix always goes to the body. He's going to want to drop you. Okay, so you could use dialogue to make it come. You could say that helps it come to life. You feel like you had ringside tickets. Okay, you got to get in there, fella. He's going to chop you up from way back. That's just fun. That's just good writing. He could have said his trainer gave him advice. But saying he's going to chop you up, that adds intensity to the story. We've talked about action words and verbs. We've talked about description. We've talked about onomatopoeia. We've talked about dialogue. So far, we've talked about 4 different techniques. You only need 2, right? What else? What else as I go in here? I love how he keeps the plot. He keeps it intense. One second, Antonio has the upper hand, and then Felix comes back. So you could show the author's different plot moves with the action and how he controls and organizes the story to make it captivating for the readers. That's awesome, right? And then the action, how the audience reacts, right? They're in a rip-roaring, toe-to-toe slugfest that brought the whole Tompkins Square Park screaming to his feet. We learned in Bedhead, it was big, it was bad, it was bedhead, that short sentences add drama. That's another technique I see here. Rights to the body, lefts to the head, neither fighter's giving an inch. I think it's awesome. Okay, so it's rich with it. It's just a minefield of excellent, vivid detail. There's all kinds of descriptive, figurative language. In a fog, he heard the roaring of the crowd, who seemed to have gone insane. Okay, I'm not going to steal your thunder. You can get in here. It starts on page 12 and it goes all the way through page 16. So that is 5 pages of incredible action detail. In your opinion, what are the 2 strongest techniques Peary Thomas used? I'm going to give you a sample list that works really well, okay? So teachers, you can pause on this list in just a second, but action verbs, onomatopoeia, the bong bong, similes like pounding like hailstones, maybe just the tension as the crowd went completely mute and Antonio and Felix rushed at each other and everyone's like, oh, it's going to be a death match. You could use moment by moment action. You could use dialogue, beautiful description and imagery like the glowing glove burns or the plot. I will pause, and students, you need to select your top 2 techniques our author used. Okay, so today the expectation is not that you write your draft. Today it's all about organization and planning our argument. We've talked about how important it is to structure our argument so that we can be compelling. And good writing is really just clear thinking, and that's what we want to do. So a little bit, we idiot proofed it for you, not to really trifle with your intelligence, but we want to give you a really good start in our first graded, constructed response. And so you will have a big overall thesis, and you're going to need to put that right here. Okay? So what is your position? And I want you have to mention Perry Thomas, our author, and Amigo Brothers, the story title. So, thesis, your position, what are the two strongest techniques author Perry Thomas used to bring Amigo Brothers fight scene to life? So you might start with incredible author Perry Thomas employs an arsenal of strong techniques to bring the fight scene to life in his epic story, Amigo Brothers. But his strongest techniques are, and I would name them, you might say action verbs and description. So you come up with your own, are blank and blank. I don't want you to rip off my thesis statement because I came up with that. So come up with your own. So something like, but you have to have Perry Thomas and Amigo Brothers and name the two techniques that our author crafted that were simply astounding and compelling and gripped the readers. So go ahead and come up with your thesis now. So teachers, you can pause and give students a moment to do that. A good thesis will have both the title, the author, and name the techniques. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so how long is this piece? That's a question we often get. You're so far beyond, it has to be, 12 sentences. I'm not going to count your sentences. You know when you've done a good job crafting a compelling argument, but I can tell you the structure of how it will go, okay? The first thing you need to do, you've made your big overall big argument, and he's using onomatopoeia and action verbs to bring this piece to life. Boom, that's your big overall one. So then pick your first technique. Which one do you want to start with? Okay, I want to start with imagery. Imagery just means description, painting a picture so readers can see it. So right here, this is just a sample. Please don't use mine. But first, Perry Thomas uses vivid imagery. So just simply name that effective technique. That's all you need to do. I do not want a retelling of the story. I've read the story. I know what happened in the story. That's not what we're doing. Retelling is low-level thinking. What we're doing is we're evaluating the author's craft and his style, and that's high-level thinking. You deciding what he did best. So name the imagery. Use vivid imagery. Got it. Prove it. So this is where you need to lift a quote from the text. So you're going back to the text, and it's letting me copy and paste quotes right from the PDF. So that's awesome. So you can copy and paste. What are your lines, your best lines that you really love? And so I put this in there for imagery. Antonio gracefully danced his way toward his stool, none the worse, except for glowing glove burns showing angry red against the whiteness of his midribs. Now that is indeed imagery. I can see that, okay? I'm going to disallow you from using that quote. There's so many of them. There's 5 pages of amazing examples you can use, but you can't have this one, okay? Because this is the example, and we'll know. Now, a quote, some people think a quote has to be dialogue. No, a quote is you taking any piece of the text. You are quoting the text. So it could be an action line. It could be bong, bong, bong. It could be whatever you want that you think is strong and powerful. But it has to be an example of whatever the technique is. So if you're saying he uses powerful similes, your example right here will be a simile. If you're saying he uses incredible action verbs, find a line with a ton of them, like pummeling and whatever Perry Thomas used. I'm saying imagery. This is imagery, glowing glove burns, okay? Now, this is the reasoning, and this is where we go a little bit deeper than when you do a CER for another class. You have to have at least 3 sentences. I don't even love the word reasoning. I like to call it the commentary, because you are commenting on this quote. You are explaining, you are crafting the argument and connecting and saying, why does this even matter? Okay, the glowing glove burns, so what? Well, what does that do for the readers? So we gave you a nice little transition in there to lead into it. Like, you can't just write, glowing glove burns. They were red, I could see it. Let's be a little bit more eloquent. This passage captivates reader by showing the intensity of the fight. The glowing glove burns allow readers to feel the painful, fiery impact of Felix's blows on their own bodies. We feel our own blood rush to the contact spot. We understand the savagery of the fight. Perry Thomas allows readers to visualize the pain in a very lively way. So what you're doing right here is you're saying, why is this good writing? What effect does this have on the reader? So explain the strong effect this has on the reader. What does it make us think about? What does it make us feel? What does it make us wonder? What does it make us hear? Okay, because there's a lot of sound during the fight scene as well. Okay? When you get your first one done, then you simply do it one more time. You only need 2 examples. Furthermore, so you use some kind of sexy transition there. It doesn't have to be furthermore. You could say to continue or secondly or moreover. He uses, and I'm going to say bold action verbs to convey the brutality of the fight scene. For instance, and I need to get in there and I'm going to find an awesome little scene that has amazing action verbs in it. Like they're rushing. The alarm is surging through Tompkins Square Park. Like whatever. I can basically just close my eyes and stick my cursor on something, and boom, there's awesome action verbs. Sorry, I say boom. I need to stop. And then finally, why are those details powerful? What does it do for you as a reader? Okay, so we've walked you through this, I think, pretty well. You've got make your claim, name your technique, find that quote, and then go ahead and explain it. Why is it powerful and important and effective in terms of writing? So you have the rest of the hour to do this good work. And then tomorrow we're going to put it together and let it flow into a response, a constructed response, getting you ready for your future in the SAT. All right, sailors, pick 2 techniques, go for it, and I'll see you back. I'll leave my example up, and teachers can pause on that, but you may not copy it. You can't use this quote or this explanation at all. All right, good luck.